Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a puzzle by Mr. Menace today, who we've covered on the channel a couple of times before, and I've always found to be a constructor of consummate skill. Now this puzzle continues the theme of Renbands that we've been doing recently. So, Renban's been around for a decade or more, I'd say, in the World Puzzle Championship, and in the last 3 weeks, I think the form has been just completely revolutionized. Extraordinary stuff from people like Codec, basically taking the form, ripping it apart, putting it back together, and coming up with all of these new ideas. It's absolutely fabulous. And this one is called Renban Mode, which could be meant to read Renban Mod E because of the typeface. I am not sure. We'll have to see. I'll read the rules in just a second. A couple of things to mention first. Tomorrow, I hope, we're going to be releasing the 3rd edition of our Chatting the Cryptic podcast. That will be available on YouTube and hopefully also on the normal podcast delivery mechanisms. So look out for that if you enjoy your Sudoku chat. Also, I've had it recommended I have a look at a cryptic crossword that was published in The Independent last weekend. So I will try and do a video solve of that and put that up on the channel maybe tomorrow as well. And finally, I need to congratulate some people who have solved our Patreon reward Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Sudoku Hunt. Over the last few hours, we have had correct entries from Matthew Fletcher, Blair Giles, Neil Harrington and Ray Newby, all of whom highlighted both the question and the answer correctly. So very well done to them. If you've not had a look at it, do have a look at it. It really is. It's good fun. And we are creeping up slowly towards 5,000 patrons on Patreon. And the moment we get there, we will be releasing a Sudoku murder mystery hunt, which is, it's a fantastic set of puzzles. So if you've ever thought about joining us on Patreon, now would be a good time. The cost is less than a bad cup of coffee a month. And what do you get for it? A lot. No, it really is a lot. We do make it good value. And if you have any interest in puzzles at all or supporting the channel, we really would be most grateful. Now, what are the rules of Mr. Menace's puzzle? I will read them to you. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Each grey line contains a set of consecutive non-repeating digits in any order. So this is the Renban constraint. Now what this means is, let's look at that line. That looks to be the longest line in the puzzle. Basically, we've got to fill this line with consecutive digits, but they don't have to be in any particular order. So let's imagine we worked out somehow these were 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. It's not like THERMO Sudoku where they would have to increase in any particular way. We could do it like that, for example. That's absolutely fine as a way of filling the Renban line. It's now full of a set of digits that are consecutive and contain no repeats. So that's what you do with the grey lines. Clues outside the grid give the sum of the digits along the indicated diagonal. So those 4 squares add up to 25. And digits may repeat on such a diagonal if allowed by the other rules. And that means that obviously those 2 cells can't be the same because that would break the rules of Sudoku, but those 2 cells can be the same, and indeed, oh no, well, actually I was about to say these 2 could be the same. They definitely can't be the same because they're on a Renban line. So this one could be the same as one of the digits on the Renban line. I think that's where we're getting to now. Let's try and... No, that's not going to work. You're going to have to make that a bit bigger. If we're trying to repeat line. I'm not going to get this right, am I? No, it's the short answer. Let's keep going. 6. No, that's not going to work. 7. 7 will work here, because now I can make these squares 5, 6 and 7. And that will work, I think. So we could have something like that. Maverick's going past again outside. Goodness me, he seems to enjoy flying by this particular tower. Anyway, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now I suspect we have to use the little killer clues to make a start on this, because I do not understand how I can make a start. Oh, I suppose though, I'm just thinking it's windy in my room today as well, so the door's creaking, there are ghosts everywhere. I was just about to condemn the Renban lines as likely to be useless when I remembered that in Codex Puzzle I had to treat them all as... Oh, they did become useful because I could do things like note that a 3-cell Renban line contains digits on it that are divisible by 3. Because if you imagine that this is the set of digits, let's use 5, 6 and 7 again. So if this is 5, 6 and 7, let's put it in this order, 5, 6 and 7. Now pick the middle digit here, that's the 6, let's call that x. We could always express this line as x minus 1, that would be the 5, x and x plus 1. Now if you add x minus 1, x and x plus 1 together, you get 3x, which means that the line in total will always be divisible by 3. Now, I can see what this is going to mean. It's going to mean these 3 squares have to be divisible by 3 because of the secret. Now the secret is telling us that if we correctly filled this row of the Sudoku, it would contain all the digits 1 to 9 once each. Add up those digits, you get 45. So 45 is divisible by 3. Those 3 squares are divisible by 3. Those 3 squares are divisible by 3. Therefore, we've got to ensure those 3 squares are divisible by 3. And yes, you're right, that is completely and utterly useless. But I did think I ought to check things like this before I went down my merry way of looking at the little killer clues, although now I'm thinking I should have looked at the little killer clues first, because this digit I can see is interesting, because those 3 digits must be divisible by 3 because they're on the same Renban line. 25 is definitely not divisible by 3, so this square has to ensure that, what's 25 mod 3? It's 1, isn't it? So this square has to either be 1, 4 or 7 to ensure that when whatever this line adds up to, this is a valid entry. Now, does that affect this? Not yet, but this digit I can get as well, or I can limit it, because 23 mod 3 is 2. So that means this has to be 2, 5 or 8. And we can prove this to ourselves if we did it the long way round. Let's just put some digits. So let's put 5, 6 and 7 on this again. Let's put 5, 6 and 7 on there. So you can see that adds up to 18. So that's going to make that a 5. And any adjustment we make in either direction here is going to adjust the value of this by 3, which is why this, of course, is moving by 3 as well. So now what does that mean? I don't think we know what it means because we can combine. Oh, I was about to say something that's probably not right there. This is very counterintuitive to me. But if this, no, it isn't. It isn't counterintuitive. It's completely sensible. The sum of those 2 digits, because this digit always gives a remainder of 2 when divided by 3, and this digit always gives a remainder of 1 when divided by 3, together they will always give a remainder of 0 when divided by 3. So this square, in order to ensure that the sort of parity, if you like, the divisibility of row 4 by 3 is preserved, this square must always be 0 mod 3, which is 3, 6 or 9. Whoopsie, 3, 6 or 9. And that is a most surprising pencil mark. That is a most surprising pencil mark. Is it useful? The answer is I'm not sure. I've not used the 5-cell. The problem with a 5-cell Renban line, I think I looked at one of these in a recent puzzle and it's a lot less easy to understand how it works. Or maybe it was a 4-cell Renban line I looked at. See, a 5-cell Renban line is basically going to be represented by, algebraically, this is equivalent to 5x plus 10, isn't it? So it's divisible by 5. That's interesting. I hadn't realised that, actually. Okay. So this is divisible by 5. 45 is divisible by 5. So those 4 squares together have to be divisible by 5. I've not used the ones at the bottom yet, so let's try and use those. Well, the 15 clue, again, we've got this mod 3 type thing going on here, haven't we? Because we know that those 3 squares are divisible by 3. And we know 15 is divisible by 3, so those 2 squares together are divisible by 3. And the same is true that way, look, because it's exactly the same with that square. So this square plus this square has to be divisible by 3. And what does that mean? Does that mean anything? Well, whatever I put in here it's quite interesting, because whatever you put in this one is like a shared digit between this sum and this sum. Sorry, this sum going this way and this sum going that way. And these 2 digits cannot be the same. So these 2 digits have to be from the same set of digits that are divisible by 3. So they either have to be from 1, 4 and 7, or from... Oh! Good grief, right. This is really clever. This is actually really clever. I think I now understand. Well, no, I do. I do understand. I think these 3 squares, the purple squares now, are from 3, 6 and 9 only. And let me explain why. Whatever this digit is, it has a quality when it's divided by 3. It's going to have a very obvious remainder. If this was a 7, it has a remainder of 1 when divided by 3. But we know that these 2 squares, therefore, would have to have a remainder of 2 when divided by 3, because we know that those 2 together have a remainder of 0 when divided by 3. Now, if these both have a remainder of 2 when divided by 3, what digits could we select them from? Well, the answer is 2, 5 and 8. Those are the digits from 1 to 9, which when you divide them by 3, leave a remainder of 2. And the puzzle is now broken because of this line. Because once you select 2 of these digits together, it doesn't matter which ones you pick. Let's pick 2 and 5, the 2 lowest ones. What are we going to put in here that is consecutive? We can't do it. This cell cannot be simultaneously 3 and 4. Now, of course, this works identically if we try and put... Let's start with a digit here that has a remainder of 2 when divided by 3. Let's start with 8. Now we know those 2 squares will have to have a remainder of 1 when divided by 3, which means they are from 1, 4 and 7. And now this one is broken, because if we make these, for example, 1 and 4, we can't make this simultaneously 2 and 3. So that is all completely... oh, hang on, I've lost some of my pencil marks which were valid. I think Maverick is saluting the logic now as he flies by again. But that means that these 3 digits here have to be from some other set. They are not from the 147 set. They are not from the 258 set. Well, there is one more set we can avail ourselves of, and that is the set of digits which, when divided by 3, give a remainder of 0. So these are from 3, 6 and 9. And that is very difficult for this, surely. Surely you cannot put 9 on this arrow. No, you can't. Right. You can't put 9 on this arrow, because if you do, the minimum you could make these 2 squares together would be 9 plus 3, which is 12. I can't make those 3 squares add up to 3, given they've all got to be different digits. The minimum they're going to add up to is 6. So these are not 9. Now, I don't know whether these... I don't think these are a triple, are they? Or is that wrong? I don't think there's a reason they need to be a triple. I don't think I can just write 9 in here, but that might be... It might be something I'm not understanding there. In a way, it looks like this is likely to be high because of this total, but... Or maybe it's the 5-cell Renban. Ah, yes, it is. Right, let's look at the 5-cell Renban here. Because, well, yeah, this is simple. If this square is not 9, let's make these two squares 3 and 6. Which 5 consecutive digits now are we going to put on this line? Well, the answer is there's nothing we can do. Because if we've used 3 and 6 in the row, the longest run of digits we can create is 7, 8, and 9. And that's only 3 digits, not 5 digits. So this is going to have to be a 9. This now can't be 6, because then... Oh, no, it can be. Oh, bobbins. I was about to say this can't be 6, because that won't leave enough room, but it will leave enough room. If that's 6, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if this is 3, oh, bother. If it's 3, it can be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ah! So... Let me just work that out again. So if this is 6, this has to have 4 and 5 on it. If this is 3, it has to have 4 and 5 on it. So there's definitely 4 and 5 on this Renban line. Which might be important somehow. In a way I'm not... Ah, I tell you what we can do. This square now must be 8. And that must be 7, because once we get 9 on the Renban line, the only consecutive digits we've got available to us are 7, 8, and 9. Which... Right, now look at what this 8 does in row 4, because it's rather clever. We've got to put 9 somewhere in this row, but we can never put 9 on a Renban line, because then it will need 8 to accompany it. So it looks like the only place 9 can go is here. And now we need to make sure that these 3 digits together were 0 mod 3, didn't we? They had to be divisible by 3 to ensure that the sort of overall parity of row 4 worked. Oh, Simon. You are a complete numpty. I was about to conclude that this was 1, forgetting that adding 4 to it creates exactly the same effect. Oh, good grief. Just give up, Simon. You do not. My brain lets me down again. Right, let's keep thinking. Now this is... Yeah, okay, I see. So if this is 4, one of these will be 5, 6, 7, and one of them will be 1, 2, 3. If this is 1, it'll be 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7. If it's 7, it'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. So... Okay. Do we know... I'm not sure what we do know, actually. If this is 6, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And these... Ah, that's it. That's it. This is not 6, because that has to be 7 or 8. Let me show you. Right. If this is a 6, that forces the Renban line to be the 5 consecutive digits which are available, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which means these two squares have to be 7 and 8. And look, that square can be neither of those things. That's lovely, because that means we now know that this square here has to be 3. And once... Whoa. That's a 3. Now, once this is 3, the 5 consecutive digits we have at our disposal are 4... Whoopsie, I'm in the wrong mode again. They are 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That can't be 7 or 8 because of these 7s and 8s. Now these two squares now have to be 1s and 2s. This can no longer be a 7 because we can't make 7 consecutive with 3 if we've only got one more digit to use. So if this is 1, this is 2. If this is 4, this is either 2 or 5, which is apparently not enough. Okay. What about this? No, unfortunately, if this is 6, this could still be a 1, 2, 3 triple, and it would still add up to 15. So this is either a 1, 2, 3 triple or a 2, 3, 4 triple. It's one of those two things. That's never a 3. We're very close to something here, aren't we? But not quite close enough. So, where do we look next? That's the question we're going to have to grapple with. We shall watch. I don't know what we shall do. We shall do something, and I'm sure it will be very, very helpful. 4. One of these lines now is 5, 6, 7 because it must have a 7 on it. Now, can it be that one? 7, 5, 6. The answer is maybe it can. Okay. Apologies if you're seeing something I'm not here. Oh, I've got something simple. That can't be a 1, 2, 3 triple, because if it's a 1, 2, 3 triple, this square has no value, so this can't be a 1, that's got to be a 4. That's not 4 anymore. This is a 1, 2 pair, this has to be a 5. That's not a 4 or a 5 anymore. Now, does that do anything for us? I don't think it does determine what this is. This could still be 2, 3, 4, or 2, 1, 3. So unless we knew this was 1, we don't know what this is yet, probably. But look, now we can use row 4. We need to put 1, 2, and 3 in one of these Renban lines. We can't put 1, 2, and 3 here because neither of these squares can be 1, 2, or 3. So those are 1, 2, and 3, and these are 5, 6, and 7. And that means this is 5 because of the 5 here. We get a 6, 7 pair, which gives us an 8. That means we eliminate 8 from those squares and 5 because of this 5. This becomes 4, 6, 7. That becomes 5 by the power of Sudoku. This can't be 3 because we know we've got a 1, 2, 3 triple here, and the 3 is definitely in that domino, which means this is not 3. Now that square's a naked single. That's got to be 9. And these two squares are now known. Look, we've got to put 4s and 6s into those squares in order to complete the box. And that gives us a 4 or a 6 on this Renban line, which is adding up to, it's either adding up to 18 minus 3, which is 15. So if this is 3 consecutive digits adding to 15, it's going to be 4, 5, and 6. And if it's what's it else is it going to be? 3 consecutive digits adding to 12. It's going to be 3, 4, 5. So, okay, we can add 3 to these. That can't be 5. Oh dear, that doesn't actually seem to do anything. So, we shall do... Oh, no, I know what we do. Yes, look, we've got the 25 and the 23, but once you know these are 3 consecutive digits, we should be able to fill in the candidates here. So these 3 squares have to add up to 15, so they must be 4, 5, and 6 because they're consecutive. That's not 5. So 4... okay, there's a 4, 6 pair here. Let's just do this arrow this line as well, and then we'll come back to this. This is 3 cells adding to 21. If they're consecutive, they must be 6, 7, and 8. So we get rid of 8 from that one. There's a 6, 7 pair in this column. Okay, I'm not seeing anything great on this line, but this line has now given us a 4, 6 pair here, which does give us this digit as a 3, and that digit as a 3 means that this line is 3, 4, 5, which adds up to 12, which means 21, and that's got to be a 6 to make things work, which means where does... Oh, there is no 6 on this line anymore. It's 3, 4, 5. So that must be 4. That must be 6. This must be 5. That's not 5. That's not 6. So that's 4. That's not 6. That's 5. And everything's going in now with some degree of alacrity. 5's go into those squares. Maybe there's more we can do. 4's got to be in one of those 3 positions. This is no longer a 6, look. Ah, this Renban line down here can't have 5 on it. So given it's got 6 on it, that's a 7, 8 pair. There's a 7, 8 pair in that column, that's not 7. There's no 6 in that square. There's a 4, 7 pair, so this has got to be a 6. Now this Renban line, can we do something with that? Which now cannot have a 7 or an 8 on it. So it's got to be from the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, so it's got to have a 3 on it. Because there's no way of selecting 3 consecutive digits from the digits 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 without there being a 3 on the line. 3 is now fixed in box, I don't believe it, it's fixed in box 8 here. Now, oh, we know what this line is now. That this has got those 2 squares add to 9, so these have to add up to 6. So these are 3, 1 and 2. So this square here is a 1 or a 2. Which doesn't actually seem... Well, actually, I was about to condemn this cell, but whatever this cell is has to go there, look, through the power of Sudoku. Let's make those 2 squares the same. So, because whatever goes here can't go in those 5 squares. So that's a little bit of a deduction. That means this can't be 1, 2, 3 anymore, so it must now have a 4 on the arrow, which has to be in one of those 2 squares. That's the poltergeist. That means that's a 4 and that's a 7. Which probably is useful, but I don't know how. Done 6s. There's got to be a 9 in one of those squares by Sudoku using the power of this 9 here. Now, that square can't be a 3, which means that that square is a 3, which means that one of these 3 squares is a 3. 9, 8, 7. Actually, both of those 2 squares I can see are relatively restricted. Maybe this one first, because 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 are looking at that square. So this square is 1, 2 or 9. Now, can it actually be 9? If it's 9, you have to put 8 here, which you can't do. So I may have a frog in my throat, but I can still do that logic. So this is a 1 or a 2. Ah, and you can't put 3 on this Renban line because of this 3. So this is a 1 or a 2, so it's not a 4. Now we've got a 4, 5 pair in box 9. And that's interesting because we can ask whether this can be a 4, and it can't be, because if this is a 4, you can't put 4 in box 8. So that must be 5, that must be 4. There's a 4 is now forced into exactly this cell in box 8 because of the 4's up here. So that gives us a 9. This square's now got to be a 1 or a 2. And that pushes this Renban line up to being 3, 4 and 5 now, which is gorgeous. Which means that this square has become 8 by the power of old Sudoku. And these are 1s, 2s and 3s. 3 can only go here. This has got to be a 1 or a 2. And slowly but surely we are whittling away at this. And although actually we've still got some work to do. Maybe this row, because I've effectively got 6 digits here. I've got this 1, 2 pair and then 3, 4, 5, 9. So we still need 6, 7s and 8s into those squares, which gives us a 6, 7, 8 triple in column 2 now. So this column needs 3, 4, 5 and 9. That square's a little bit restricted. That can only be 4 or 9. That square's got to be 3, 5 or 9. That's on the Rembrandt line. That's got to be 3, 5 or 9. That's got to be 3, 4, 5 or 9, not 6, 5. Can we eliminate things like 8 from this square? No. Or probably is the answer, but my Stormtrooper scanning won't reveal it. 6. Oh, nearly. 6 is a bit restricted in that box. It can only go in 2 positions, I think. So 6 has got to be in one of 2 positions in box 3. 2 pair. Oh, good grief. Right. Mark would be cursing me, and some of you have probably been cursing me as well, but there is a naked single here. Look at that. 1, 2, 3 and 5 in the row, 6, 7, 8 and 9 in the column. That square can only be a 4. That's a good looking 4 though. It's a handsome beast because it gives us a 9 here, which removes 9 from that Rembrandt line. Plonks 9 in here in box 9, gives us a 9 up at the top there. 9 in one of those 2 cells as well. Now, is that enough? What's this square then now? 4 is not available on this Rembrandt line, so you must always go the sort of other way. You must go towards extremes. So this has got to be 2 or 6, which is very irritating indeed, because that seems to be... Oh no, it's not possible. My Stormtrooper scanning again, overlooking the fact that there is definitely a 2 in one of those. So that's a 6, which makes this a 5. Which means 5's not on that line, on that line. Actually, look, 9 now gives us a 3 there. So that must be a 4. That's no longer a 4, which places a 4 here. This 3 is now useful, completes this line. 3's and 5's go in. That's not 3, so this is a 3, 6 pair, but that 3 tells us the order. 3 and 6 go in. That looks like it's a 7. 7 and 6 go in. So we can get rid of 7 from this now. But this is a consecutive line again, isn't it? So that's going to have to be 8, and that's going to have to be 6, which means that's 8. And this is 7, which means that's 6. And what's... yeah, hang on. This square can't be 4, so it must be 2. Which may do something for us. It means 2's in one of those 2 squares. I don't know if we know which one. 3. Where does 3 go? In box 7. It can only go here. Which means that this is a 2, therefore this is a 1, that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's a 2, that's a 2, that's a 2, that's a 1, and all of a sudden we must be close to doing all the 1s and 2s. We've done 6 of them. We've got a 1-9 pair going on in that box. We've got 1s in these 2 squares, and over here, that's nice. We've got 1s in one of these 2 squares. So now, where do we put the 1 in row 2? It's going to have to go there. That's a 9. Those 2 squares are 2 and 7. We can do that. 7 and 2 go in. 7 and 8 go in. These 2 squares are 7 and 8, but I don't think I know which is the order. What are those 2 squares? 1 and 5? Yeah, that's nice, because there's a 5 here. So we can go 5, 1, 1, 8, 8, 7, whoopsie, 8, 7. That's got to be a 7-9 pair, which places 2 in the corner, which doesn't get a song. 7 must go at the top there, that's a 9. 9 must go at the top there, and that square should be an 8. And that, I think, is how to solve Renban. Right, Renban is not mod E, is it? It's mod and then a reversed 3, because that is what all of this initial shenanigans is about. It's a beautiful puzzle, by the way. Let's just check I've got it right. Yes. Okay, good. I've got it right. Now let's just revisit the logic at the start of this, because it is a quite beautiful idea. So I think the initial idea is to lock this cell and this cell to be different remainders when divided by 3. So this one is 1 mod 3, if you like, because because we know that that's 0 mod 3, and we know 25 is 1 mod 3. This one is 2 mod 3. So we were able to get these to be in a sort of different set of digits. And then once you work on this and find these have to be in the same set, but then you notice that you can't make them in the same set as these two. It's just gorgeous. It really is so clever. So you're actually able to get the set of digits that comprises these 3 cells. And then it seemed to get easier. Yeah, we could lock 9 off here, couldn't we? So 9 got placed here. And then I felt like I was a bit slow at this bit, but I was able to get this as being 3, 4, 5. And from there, we sort of just whittled away at the puzzle. It's just brilliant. Brilliant, more brilliance from Mr. Menace. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. I do enjoy reading them, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.